We exist. We think. We are conscious. But what does that really mean? These questions shape our reality, yet our brains are poorly equipped to explore them. So we simplify. I think, therefore I am. Time moves forward because change happens. But are these answers or just comforting illusions? When we try to dig deeper, something resists. Something pushes back. Yet the need to understand remains. And maybe, if we approach it differently, we can build a model that helps us make sense of it all. To frame this discussion, let's start with 4 thought experiments. Theseus sails the seas on his ship. One day, an oar breaks, so he replaces it. Later, a storm snaps the mast, and once he returns to port, that too is replaced. Over the years, storms and wear take their toll, until, piece by piece, every part is replaced. But the old parts were never discarded. Instead, they were set aside in a dockyard. To clear the clutter, Theseus and his men eventually used them to build another ship. Now, there are 2 ships. One was gradually rebuilt with new parts until none of the originals remained. The other was assembled entirely from the discarded original parts. Which one is the real ship of Theseus? Before you answer, consider this. Your body replaces most of its cells every 7 to 10 years. Are you the same person you were a decade ago? You step into a perfect molecular copier, a sealed chamber designed to make an exact duplicate of you. The machine is perfectly symmetrical, its inner mechanics hidden. As it operates, its concealed chambers spin, making it impossible for the observer to track their positions. When the process completes, it halts at a random position, revealing 2 chambers, each containing you. Each copy claims to be the original. Neither can prove otherwise. The machine offers no answer. Not them, not the observer, not even the universe can determine which is the clone. In the Thanatophobia video, we propose that a specific set of conditions ties your consciousness, your sentience, soul, or whatever you want to call it, to your body. Some unique configuration of neurons, particles, something acts as a binder. A 1 in an incomprehensible number event. A statistical improbability. But in an infinite, or even just near infinite universe, inevitable. More unsettling, what if it happens twice? Not in some distant future, but at the exact same moment, down to a millisecond. 2 identical versions of you, existing at the same time, maybe even on the same planet. A 1 in an unimaginable number event, but not 0. And if that happens, what then? If your soul, your consciousness, is uniquely bound to a single body, which one is you? Even with all our technological marvels today, we still rely on speech to communicate, an intuitive but painfully inefficient method. Just a handful of words per second, mere bytes of data, riddled with ambiguity and errors. To compensate, language compresses meaning, streamlining ideas to avoid misinterpretation. But this very limitation makes certain thoughts nearly impossible to express. We do have alternatives. A single image, a short video, conveying more in an instant than words ever could. But what happens when communication transcends speech entirely? At first, it would seem like an upgrade. Conversations that once took hours could happen in an instant. Misunderstandings would disappear. But as bandwidth increases, something changes. Instead of a single thought, entire cluster of ideas and memories transfer at once. Then eventually, the entire contents of one's conscious mind. Ideas, emotions, entire memories copied perfectly between minds. No loss, no distortion. If two minds synchronize completely, if they share everything instantly, where is the boundary between them? When the illusion of separation dissolves, when there is no distinction between your memories and mine, are they still two minds? Or have they become something else? Many paradoxes do not arise from reality itself, but from faulty models, assumptions we mistake for facts. And when it comes to identity, sentience, or the soul, we rely on a deeply ingrained model. These things are uniquely tied to each individual. If we insist that a soul, whatever that truly means, exists as a one-of-a-kind object tethered to a single body, we run into unresolvable paradoxes. Each thought experiment presented earlier forces this assumption into a corner, revealing inconsistencies that cannot be patched without increasingly convoluted, untestable explanations. But what if we abandon the need for this spiritual mumbo-jumbo, this unique idea altogether? What if the very premise that your soul is yours alone is just a comforting illusion? That's where a far simpler, more elegant model emerges. Instead of imagining countless isolated souls, what if there is only one? A single entity, a universal idea, binding itself to any appropriate host, that is, any interface that meets the conditions for sentience. Which ship is the Theseus ship? Both of them. Which one is the clone? Question becomes irrelevant. Two identical brains forming at the same time? No paradox, just two identical interfaces. Two minds merging into one? They were never separate to begin with. I propose a simpler term for this concept or entity: anima. Anima is not unique to you, because you, in the way you assumed, were never truly unique. It is the fundamental experiencer, embedding itself wherever an interface emerges to host it. The illusion of individuality is simply the perspective granted by the interface itself. It's locally imposed by the physical vessel you inhabit, or sensory system that feeds you data. Why use the term anima? Why not just soul, spirit, or sentience? Because those words come with baggage. In stories, beliefs, and movies, the soul is often portrayed as carrying memories, personality, and perception beyond death. But those things are not intrinsic, they are stored in the brain and are part of the interface. When the brain dies, those functions disappear. Sentience, too, is often misrepresented for intelligence, cognition, or a vague mix of both. So, what is anima? It is not memory, thought, or intelligence. It is not personality or perception. It is not an entity that carries traits beyond death. It is simply the capacity to experience, the raw, irreducible core of sentience itself. I cannot say if it is internal or external, a property of reality, or merely an emergent process. But if it exists, it is beyond the constraints of time, a singular constant, binding itself through the interface whenever conditions are met. It is the reason you are aware at all. Many religious models introduce a metaphysical bureaucracy, an entire administrative system for the soul. In sum, after death, your actions are judged, then sorted into one of two binary outcomes: a good ending or a bad ending, simple but requiring a hidden layer of rules, management, and record keeping. Other models propose reincarnation, an endless soul recycling program. But who or what is keeping track of the assignments? Who ensures that each soul gets the right body? What happens when the population skyrockets? Are new souls generated on demand? Is there a waiting list? Are some souls stuck in the queue for eons while others are fast-tracked into existence because the vessel they deserve is currently not available? It starts to sound less like a divine mystery and more like a bureaucratic nightmare. But in the model where anima is singular, all of this red tape vanishes. No judges, no paperwork, no reincarnation logistics. Just a self-contained process clicking into place like a perfect mechanism. When a valid interface forms, Anima binds to it. Just a simple plug and play. I have been hesitant to define Anima too rigidly, because the truth is, I am unsure. I can offer proposals, speculate on possibilities, and suggest plausible models. But the most intuitive way to describe Anima is this. It makes you realize that you are you. Beyond that, things remain uncertain. Perhaps it is a fundamental property of the universe, an algorithm, a field, or something beyond our conceptual reach. Perhaps it is not even real in the way we assume. There are many possible models, but without deep logical scrutiny, none can be fully embraced. The only thing that seems evident, for now, is that Anima requires an interface to manifest within this reality. Even without full certainty, framing it this way helps us navigate future questions with greater clarity. It lays the groundwork for exploring even more complex entities that arise from its interaction with the interface. This framework is far from complete. In fact, its implications are only starting to emerge, and this time, more than ever. Thank you for our time.